I'm Lyonel Lumarque from LyonStrong Training Systems, and this is Don Giafardino from Adex Maces and Clubs. And we're the old guys talking training.
And we want to talk to people who are over 40.
Absolutely.
That want to get back into shape. And this is one of the best ways that you guys can get back out in action again and not really beat yourself up like the way traditional weightlifting does to you.
Absolutely. You know, most people out there are thinking that training has to be the conventional way. When we were growing up, it was go to the gym, lift heavy weights, do the typical things that you do, thinking that that was the way to fitness. As I got older, I kept realizing that that's not anything at all having to do with fitness. I mean, yes, you can get bigger, yes, you can look like you can do something, but the reality of it is most people are walking around in pain all the time, discomfort, unable to really do the things that matter, like play with your kids and, you know, go out there and do the things that you enjoy. And what I found is by learning how to move the way your body was intended to, using clubs and maces and other tools that are there to really truly help you get the best of that, will create an incredible body for you at any age. And so this is a call for all of you guys out there who think that I am too old to do something to get in shape. We're definitely living proof that that's not the case.
Exactly. Lyonel just turned 51 this past year. 51?
51 this year.
51 this past year. I'm 55. I'm going to be 56 this year. So, you know, we've got some miles on us.
Yep.
We've both been involved in sports and training since we were young guys. I started when I was 12, and I believe you did too.
I was 16, yeah.
Yeah, you were about 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have similar backgrounds. Lyonel did step up and go into the military when I was trying to make my fortunes. But here we are today, and we're trying to talk to you folks that have been kind of out of it for the past few years. You know, you got married, you know, the kids came,
right,
the bills, life, and everything, and now you want to get back into the game. Maybe it's because you have grandkids, or maybe because your friends are doing things that you want to participate in, and you just don't want to feel, you know, full of aches and pains like most normal people are getting these days, or what they say is normal. So we're trying to help you alleviate that.
Yes, and so this is really one of the best tools that I've found out there to be able to help take it to a different level. There's tons of clubs and maces that are available on the market, but most people are used to seeing the fixed type of clubs, and there's a big difference really between using the Adex and the other ones out there. The difference comes in the fact that they're adjustable. With a typical club, you know, that we have, whether it's a 5-pounder, a 10-pounder, or a 15-pounder, it's really one fixed weight and it has one particular thing that you can do with it. The Adex clubs are adjustable, so I can take this apart and actually remove the weight and make it lighter or heavier, you know, simply by doing this.
Now,
So,
when you change the weights, what's each one of those weights weigh?
so right now, each one of those particular weights, you know, when I take them off, these are 5 pounds each. So if I want to make it heavier, I can add a 5-pound weight to it, or I can have a smaller 2.5-pound weight to basically change and adjust, you know, the weight in the clubs here. That makes it extremely versatile, where I can actually go really light, like with the handle right here by itself. This is 3.5 pounds. I can work on something to be able to help rehab an injured shoulder or rehab some other parts of the body and help develop strength, you know, with older, less active people. And once we start getting stronger, I can now add the additional components to be able to make it heavier. By adding the base to it, I now take it to 5 pounds, and then from there I can go up in 2.5-pound increments all the way up to 25 before having to add on any more with the add-on.
So you're finding that the 2.5 pounds is very versatile for your clients when they're using this?
Oh, absolutely, because it really gives me the opportunity to make increases without making ridiculous jumps. Because one of the things that I found with the 5 pounds, it doesn't sound like much, but a 5-pound jump with the clubs is a huge jump for most people. So being able to increase it by 2.5 on the other hand makes it a whole lot easier to be able to make, you know, to get the results that you would want.
So this is a standard 15-pound club right here,
Correct.
which is a fixed weight club. And this one is the Adex club
At 15 pounds.
at 15 pounds as well. But this has the versatility to be able to add the weights from these other units onto there.
Correct.
And go
To
up
make
to
it
25
heavier,
pounds.
or to remove any one of these weights to make it lighter than 15 pounds.
So if you buy one of these, you'd have to buy a whole set to be
Right.
able to equal what
Correct.
that is.
You'd have to buy literally 10 of those different clubs to be able to do what this one can do.
Wow. So with that being said, that right there, you're getting a whole kit inside that. Now, for us older people, how does this differ compared to regular weightlifting that we see, like bro lifting and what our kids are doing, and how do you feel this differs?
This differs in so many ways. One of the biggest differences that you find is that this is a lot easier on the body than anything else that you can do. When you finish training with this, you don't feel like you got run over by a truck. You're tired, you feel like you exercised, but you actually wake up the next day feeling better than you did before, which is very unusual, because most of the times when you're training, especially when you're starting a new training program, you expect a ton of soreness, a ton of pain, especially in areas or joints around where you haven't trained before.
Sure,
but
I remember going back to squatting after taking a few years off and trying to walk a flight of stairs after that. It was horrible.
Absolutely, and it takes you a good week or so, to be able to recover most of the times from this. What's incredible about using these clubs is when you finish working with them, the next day, instead of feeling sore and beat up, you actually feel energized because of the way that the counter force, using the rotational powers, the counter rotational force that you are having to put into place to work with the clubs. That does incredible benefits to our bodies. It allows the joints to actually feel more like they're being elongated instead of being compacted. And it really brings a lot of blood flow to the areas. So instead of feeling like you got really run over and beat up and your body has to fight really hard to recover from lactic acid deposits, etc., you have the exact opposite effect happening by using the clubs, where your body's and re-energized basically, because you have new blood flow that's been brought to the areas to help it work better and feel better. So instead
of making you feel worn down, just like every day is making us feel worn down, especially if we're living sedentary lifestyles.
Correct.
This is actually invigorating you. It's
100%.
making you want to go out and do things rather than go and relax after you're done with your training.
Exactly.
Now, what do you find this is doing for your strength? Are you maintaining or getting stronger as you're training with this?
Now that's a question that you asked this, because I don't do nearly as much strength training, quote unquote, like I used to before, with lifting heavy weights and everything else.
I'm going to interject right here. Lyonel was a CrossFit regional athlete. So, right there. Now, this is where this guy has come to.
So what's interesting about using these gloves and maces is that even though I don't do anywhere nearly as much lifting as I used to before, I'm still able to lift basically the same as I was, just because I'm utilizing the clubs and the maces. So yes, in terms of getting stronger, yeah, they definitely help you get stronger, because you're able to adjust the weights and go into heavier increments, and you can work on specific strength building exercises that targets your muscles in a whole completely different way than traditional lifting does, and gives you incredible benefits on those ranges. So I don't have to lift heavy every day and beat myself up to still remain strong, and I love that about these.
Okay, and I'm playing devil's advocate here. So if you guys haven't figured out, from the introduction, I'm the guy that brought these down to Lyonel, and we started talking together, and this was maybe 3-4 years ago, right?
Almost 5 years ago.
5 years ago, he's been doing this. So what we're establishing here is that this type of training is keeping us active, and we're in our 50s. I stopped 5 years ago of doing conventional training. I used to do my club training mixed with weightlifting and CrossFit style workouts. Now I'm not doing that anymore. I use solely clubs and maces right here. And Lyonel's subscribing to the same theory. And we're keeping our bodies young. And this is a very easy and fun modality to get into. Now, you have a couple of clients that are much older than us, that would be like our parents' age. And I know Dorothy, is that her name? Margaret is 90.
She's
90 years old. And so Margaret is training with Adex clubs and maces here at Lyonel's LyonStrong Fitness. With that, do you feel learning the new patterns as you're learning your Mason club training and you're getting to more of the compound movements, do you feel that is a good way to keep your cognitive function, your brain body, the body brain connection going, and possibly reduce the onsets of cognitive disorders, which we're seeing so much of these days? with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS.
Oh,
on the
absolutely,
rise.
absolutely. This is definitely one of the best ways to keep that mind-body connection going, because you're actually moving an implement in a way that requires, not only dynamic forces, but also requires you to really pay attention and engage all your muscles in the right way. So you think differently when you're holding a set of clubs in your hands.
So you're training strong but smart at the same
Absolutely.
time, instead of strong like a brute, just
No
pushing.
brute, just no pushing, no whatever, but just
And you're
very, very
guiding
specific,
the weights.
very guided into what you're doing. This is one of the best training methodologies that I found to be able to help get people to where I need them to be. So it doesn't matter if you're in your 80s or 90s, or if you're in your 50s or 30s or 40s, you're in a position where you can do something using these clubs to really change the way you move and help you improve in every other area, with you. What's unique about the way we work here is we're movement centric. We really truly want to help improve the way people move their bodies, because the reality of it is we weren't meant to just beat up ourselves and go crazy, right? As human beings, we should be able to walk, run, and throw like there's nobody's business. That's great when we're in our younger, years, but as we get older, that seems to be something that we forgot how to do. And so everything we do here is geared towards helping you bring it back. And using the clubs and maces has been one of the best tools that I've been able to, utilize and put in people's hands to help them improve on all those mechanics that we just discussed. So.
So this is a wonderful way for
Yeah.
you to get back into shape.
Absolutely.
If you've been on the couch for 20 or 30 years and you decided that you want to make a commitment and get better, this is one of the best ways to be able to do that. This will challenge you both with your strength and with your mind.
Absolutely. Physically, mentally, and I would even say emotionally. Because this will humble you in ways that you don't expect, but at the same time, it will invigorate you in ways that you don't expect as well. So
And it's fun.
it is.
It's fun to learn how to do new things. It's fun to screw up while you're learning it, especially if you video yourself. If you're like us,
Right.
because we'll be videoing ourselves.
Absolutely.
So make fun of yourself and have some fun with this.
And another thing
And
about
you'll get
this,
good at it.
another thing about this that I think is also great is that this is a tool that you can literally use every day. I mean, I'm not a big proponent of people training every day, because I think you need to be able to allow your body time to recover from all the damage that you do to it, and I think a lot of people miss out on that. There's a big thing out there about training every day and no days off and whatever, and I think that's the stupidest approach to training, especially when you're dealing with our population. People in our 40s and above.
Well,
I just
we
think
have a
that's just the
slower
wrong way to go about it, right? So I don't believe in that at all. But what's great is that this is one tool that actually allows you the flexibility to be able to do something every day if you want it. Because you can use the clubs or the maces in a heavy way one day, you get a really hard training session, and the next day you can use them to do some kind of flow where you're working with something really light, and you're really truly just learning how to move different and how to move better and how to really engage your body and muscles in a whole completely different way. So yeah, big time proponent.
One thing that, and I want to see what you think of this. Somebody told me that every exercise with the clubs is like learning, like it's like an Olympic weightlifting movement. If people are listening, if you're familiar with Olympic weightlifting, it's a very dynamic, explosive way of training. And I had run across someone that said, dude, even when I'm doing these small movements, these small arm circles, I'm engaging my whole body, and then I can take my body out of it to make it harder and put it back in again. So they're getting this whole activation throughout their body,
Correct.
from their brain, from the central processing unit.
Correct.
Throughout
Correct.
the body.
And I would definitely make that correlation between the two, because as an Olympic weightlifter and Olympic weightlifting coach, one of the things I try to get with people is that moving well is the most important thing that you can do. And what's great about these clubs and maces is that even though the movements seem completely different or completely disconnected from what you're doing in Olympic lifting, they actually complement each other. What you do here, when you start getting really that connection with your mind and your body in terms of how to move the clubs and how to move around in all these different positions, that transfers extremely easily to picking up a barbell and then just starting to fling that around. So yeah, I think that's a great way to integrate the two, with each other.
And this is coming from an athlete and a trainer himself. This is right from the lion's mouth here. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'd love to see more people get involved in Mason Club training.
Absolutely.
It only spurs the modality on. It's got so many benefits. check it out. Don't just take our word for it. Look online at other places and other trainers that are doing this and how much the people are actually enjoying it. And
yeah, there's a reason why there's a big movement happening right now with clubs and maces. It's because they work. And people are finally realizing that there's better ways to move than just beating yourself up all the time.
So with that being said,
let's get you moving.
Let's get you guys moving, and thank you very much for your time today. And this is Don Giafardino with
Lyonel
Lumarque here at LyonStrong in Miami. Check out Adex clubs. Peace.